Hello again and welcome back. Welcome back to a new class, to class number 125. Yes, sir. When we finish this class, we will have one class left. One class less, pardon. One class less left to go. So, slowly we're moving through the program. It's taking forever, don't you think? It's taking forever. It's a 9-month program. It took me 10 years to learn Spanish well. So maybe it'll take you 10 years to learn English well. I don't want to discourage you, desanimaros. I don't want to discourage you, but learning a second language after puberty is not recommendable. But if we have to do it, we have to do it. But it requires a lot of work. It requires a lot of time, a lot of work. Sometimes, depending on your situation, a lot of money. All right? If you have a lot of money, you can reduce the amount of effort or time. But still, all three elements are usually included: time, effort, and money. Although money is the least important, because there are ways, of course, to learn a second language without spending anything or hardly anything. ¿Cómo se dice casi nada? Hardly anything. Hardly anything. Okay. Class number 125, welcome back. Let's go to camera 1 and let's get started, shall we? Let's get started, because I want to get off to a good start today. I don't want to get off to a bad start. I want to get off to a good start. So let's get off to a good start by following Maria's instructions. Maria's always trying to get me to change in the first minute. This is the third minute, okay? Pobre. You know, she's starting to have a complex. I mean, she's acomplejada, as you say, because she never gets me to do what she wants me to do. She never gets me to do what she wants me to do. Repetid esa frase en voz alta, a ver. No, escucha. She never gets me to do what she wants me to do. It's easy in English. Nunca consigue que yo haga lo que ella quiere que yo haga. In Spanish, it's more difficult than in English. She never gets me to do what she wants me to do. Say it again. No. Listen. She never gets me to do what she wants me to do. All right? And what she wants me to do is to change to camera 1. But I can't change to camera 1 until I finish saying what I'm saying. All right? But now, let's change, shall we? All right. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. All right. So, to get off to a good start. In my opinion, right now, we are getting off to a good start. If you remember, to get off to a good start is salir bien. O sea, empezar con buen pie. To get off to a good start. Yes, in my opinion, right now we're getting off to a very good start. In Maria's opinion, no. Because she has already had a problem. The first problem was that I didn't pay attention to her. Well, let me tell you. Before we started, we made 3 false starts. She said, Prevenido, are you ready? No, wait. I was ready. En vilo. I was ready. And then said, okay, now we're ready. Prevenido, wait. 3 false starts. So already, for her, we have gotten off to a bad start today. And she doesn't like to get off to a bad start. She prefers to get off to a good start. Me too. But for me, that doesn't matter. I don't care if false starts don't bother me. False starts. Los comienzos en falsos. En falso. Los comienzos en falso. All right? False starts. Sin the delante. Porque es en general. False starts don't bother me. They bother her because she's a technical person. I'm not. I'm a teacher. Sometimes they bother me if there are 25 false starts. Sometimes there are a lot. And so for her, everything got off to a bad start. For me, no. Things got off to a good start. But then she kept telling me to move. She kept telling me to move to the other camera, and I kept talking to the same camera. And she kept indicating, and I kept talking to the same camera. And finally, she sat down frustrated. All right, just said, I have to forget about it. She said, I forget about it. So she was trying to get me to change. She was trying to get me to change. She was trying to get me to do what she wants me to do. All right? That's what she always does. She's always trying to get me to do what she wants me to do. And me, like any man, we never do what women want us to do. All right? So she couldn't get me to do what she wanted me to do. She couldn't get me to do what she wanted me to do. But finally I changed. But it was my decision, not hers. She had already sat down and was painting her nails again, as usual. And so, really, for me, we have gotten off to a very good start today. Because I need to review two expressions: to get off to a good start or to get off to a bad start. That's one. And the second is to get somebody to do something. Conseguir que alguien haga algo is to get somebody to do something. Or that person wants to get you to do something. I want to get you to do many different things. And so explaining these two concepts from the previous class, I think I have covered them well in the 8 minutes I have. All right? Now I need to get the people outside to be quiet, because the people outside are making too much noise. This recording studio, this studio here, has a problem. Number one, the door is too thin. Noise comes through the door. So if there are people outside talking to each other, sometimes we can hear it. And sometimes you can hear it, I think. Then upstairs is another floor. And you can hear people walking upstairs. Sometimes they walk very strong. They don't walk like a cat on the carpet. No, they walk boom, boom, boom. And you can hear it. I can hear it. And it distracts me. So we try to get the people outside to make less noise. And we try to get the people upstairs to walk more softly. And then in the television studio next door, they're doing some construction work. They're building a new set. Construir un plato. They're building a new set. And there's a man with a drill. Hay un taladro. And in the middle of my program, suddenly I can hear a drill. Okay? Similar to a dentist's drill. Okay? And it distracts me, it distracts Maria. So we're trying to get three things. We're trying to get the people outside to be quieter. We're trying to get the people upstairs to walk more softly. And we're trying to get the carpenter next door significa al lado, next door, to use his drill during the breaks and not during my program, which is not easy because he has a lot of things to do with his construction. We're trying to get things. But nevertheless, for me, today we got off to a good start. For Maria, we got off to a bad start. But for me, we got off to a good start. All right. I'll be back in a few minutes.
Hello everyone, soy Leila. I'm Leila. I'm here with my student Anna. Anna, how are you doing?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great as well. Okay, are you ready to practice at home? Yeah? How about you? Are you ready to practice?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good. We're going to have a review class today. And the first one is going to be the expression empezar como al pie, empezar como en pie, to get off to a good start or to get off to a bad start. Okay, and we're going to practice with a lot of questions, like always, como siempre. Okay? Quiero que estéis practicando en casa. Okay, I want you practicing at home. Okay? All right. Did you and I get off to a good start?
Yes, we got off to a good start.
Okay, now you can say you and I.
Yes, you and I got off to a good start.
Good, okay. So got off
to a good start.
To a good start. Okay, ahí tenemos el to. También hacemos el linking to round lips. To ponemos una W. Okay, so her and I got off to a good start. Okay? Ask me if I got off to a bad start with my future mother-in-law.
Did you get off to a bad start with your future mother-in-law? Future mother-in-law.
Okay, so future mother-in-law, la futura suegra. Okay? Now, this is a question, right? Okay, give me some intonation.
Did you get off to a bad start with your future mother-in-law?
Okay, very good. But remember, in English, it's always the first word and the last word. Did you get off to a good start with your future mother-in-law? Okay, always the first word and the last word. Ask me again.
Did you get off to a good start with your future mother-in-law?
Okay. One more time.
Did you get off to a good start with your future mother-in-law?
Okay. Yes, thank God, right? Yes, I got off to a good start with my future mother-in-law. Okay? What would you do if you got off to a bad start with your new boss? Aquí tenemos una condicional. What would you do if you got off to a bad start with your new boss?
If I got off to a bad start with my new boss, I'd be worried.
Okay, good. Now say that one more time for me.
If I got off to a bad start with my new boss, I'd be worried.
Okay, if I got off to a bad start with my new boss, I'd be worried. Everyone would be worried, right? Okay, good. Ask me what I'd do if I got off to a bad start with my neighbor.
What would you do if you got off to a bad start with your neighbor?
Okay, are you asking me a question?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So she wants intonation. Okay, esta es mi forma de ser sarcástica para que os deis cuenta que quiero la entonación de la pregunta. One more time.
What would you do if you got off to a bad start with your with your neighbor?
Okay, well, it's okay. One more time.
What would you do if you got off to a bad start with your neighbor?
Good, okay. What would you do? Os hago la misma pregunta. What would you do if you got off to a bad start with your neighbor? Difficult answer. I have no idea. No tengo ni idea. I have no idea what I'd do if I got off to a bad start with my neighbor, right? Because that's for life. Well, not for life, but... Okay? So, the next part, to get someone to do something. Okay? To get someone to do something, conseguir que alguien haga algo. Get someone to do something. Okay? So I'm going to give you some sentences in Spanish, and I want you to translate them for me into English, okay? And I want you guys practicing at home, okay? Always remember to practice, practice, practice out loud. Okay, so here we go. The first one, conseguí que él lo hiciera.
I got him to do what I wanted.
Okay, que lo hiciera. We don't know what. Okay, so you can just say it.
Oh, I got him to do it.
Okay,
I got him to do it.
I got him
to do it.
to do it.
To do it.
Very good, okay? I got him to do it. Aquí tenemos lo mismo, do it. Round lips, ponemos una W, okay? Do it. I got him to do it, okay? ¿Conseguiste que revisaran los informes?
Did you get them to review the...
To review, okay, to review or revise. We can use both words, or okay, to review or revise.
To revise the...
Reports.
Reports, okay. Did you get them to revise the reports?
Okay, are you asking me a question?
Did you get them to revise the reports?
Very good, okay. Did you get them to revise the reports? Okay, good. ¿Conseguiste que él hiciera la cena?
You got him to do dinner, to do the dinner.
Ooh, okay, be careful. So, when we talk about things with food, when we talk about making food, we always use the verb make, okay? Make en el sentido de preparar. Make dinner, make lunch, make coffee, make a cocktail, lo que sea, pero siempre con make, okay? One more time.
Did you get him to make dinner?
Exactly. Uy, casi vas a decir da. Okay, cuidado con eso. Dinner, no the, okay? Ask me one more time.
Did you get him to make dinner?
Okay. Did you get him to make dinner? Remember the intonation on the first word.
Did you get him to make dinner?
Very good. Okay, yes. I got him to make dinner. Okay, good. All right. ¿Conseguiste que ellos hicieran la fiesta en su casa?
Did you get them to make the party, to have the party?
Have the party. Have the party. Okay, not make.
Did you get them to have the party in their house?
At their house. La preposición es at their house because it's a specific place. Es un lugar concreto. Okay, one more time.
Did you get them to have the party at their house?
Good, okay. Yes, I got them to have the party at their house. Okay, well done.
Thank you.
Well done. That's all the time we have for today, so I'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Okay, welcome back. You know, actually giving these classes takes up an enormous amount of my time. You can't imagine how much time this program takes up. It's changing my life. All right? Oh, by the way, Maria's telling me to switch. She's trying to get me to follow her instructions. She's trying to get me to do what she wants me to do. What do you think? Should we make her happy? Shall we? Shall we make her happy for one day? For once? All right, para variar, okay? For a change, let's switch to camera one. All right, okay, all right. She's smiling now. And when Maria smiles, the whole world smiles. When she's smiling, the whole world smiles with her, including me. All right, yes, to smile. She has a big smile. That's what you call a sonrisa almeriense, because she's from Maria. She's a big smile, all right? Qué grato es estar aquí. Okay, but we have, I was saying before I changed that this program, coming here every day to teach 3 hours, to teach you for 1 hour, the beginners for 1 hour, and the intermediate people for 1 hour, takes up a lot of my time. First of all, no estoy hablando de festivales. No, festival, no. First of all, antes que nada, primeramente, primero. First of all, suena festival, I can see. First of all, it takes me 35 minutes to get here. Second, it usually takes me 40 minutes to get home after this program, after the 3 hours. So between the actual, and then between the classes, I need some time. So it takes me about 4.5 or 5 hours every day to give these classes. It takes up a lot of my time. It takes up a lot of my time to take up time, to take up space. Interesting. To take up has two meanings. The meaning here is ocupar. Ocupa mucho tiempo de mi día. It takes up a lot of time. También ocupar mucho espacio. If I were 3 times fatter than I am now, I would take up a lot of space. This chair would need to be widened because I take up a lot of space. All right, to take up a lot of space, take up a lot of time. This desk, you can't see it, but in camera 2 you can see this desk I use. It takes up a lot of space in this room. Okay, it takes up a lot of space. And my coming here takes up a lot of time in my agenda. I have a lot of things to do during the day. I have a lot of responsibilities. Coming here is a pain in the neck because it takes up a lot of time. It takes up my whole afternoon. Ocupo toda la tarde. O sea, dedico cuerpo y alma. Es que me saca la sangre. It's taking my blood. Because it takes up so much time. My life will change when this program is over. When we finish class number 195, at the end of this program, you and the beginners and the intermediates say, my God, finally! And my life will change. I will need to learn how to work again in a different way. Yeah, that'll be fun. It takes up a lot of time. Studying English takes up a lot of time, but it's worth it. Yes, travel takes up a lot of time. You know, people who live outside of Madrid, Barcelona, Bilbao, most people know, but a lot of people live outside of the big cities in what we call in English bedroom communities. You say ciudades dormitorio. Bedroom, alcoba, o sea, dormitorio. Bedroom communities. And they commute, comute, escrito doble M en medio. They commute to work. Commute son desplazamientos de fuera, adentro, para trabajar en una ciudad grande. They commute to work. And the travel takes up a lot of time. It takes up a lot of time. And then during the day, when I move around, sometimes I use my car, sometimes I use taxis. The travel, moving around takes up a lot of time. It really takes up a lot of time. If I use my car, I need to go from my office down to the parking garage, get into my car, leave the parking garage, travel to the destination, find a place to park, get out of the car, go up to the street, find the place, go up and wait. And then in the waiting room, waiting for the meeting, that takes up a lot of time. So there's a lot of inefficient motion, inefficient movement in a normal working day for an active person. Different activities take up a lot of time. Different activities that are not directly profitable, that are not directly productive. These activities often take up more time than the directly productive time. So, because of this, you need to make sure, aseguraos, hay que asegurarse, you need to make sure that the productive time is in fact productive, because the unproductive time, the different activities you perform in order to reach moments of productive time, take up a lot of time. Those activities take up a lot of time. Going to work in the morning and going home in the evening. How much time does that take up in your day? Does it take up 30 minutes, an hour and a half? I know one man who is the financial manager in a very big company. So he has a very good salary, very important job, a very big company, one of the biggest in Spain. And he's the top man in finance. However, he lives about, well, it takes him every day an hour and 15 minutes to go to work. And it takes him an hour to go back home. So his two movements of going to work and going home take up an enormous time, in my opinion, an enormous time in his working day. All right, it takes up a lot of time. To take up time and to take up space. To ocupar espacio, ocupar tiempo, to take up. All right? And to take is se tarda. It takes 10 minutes. It takes me 10 minutes to prepare a coffee. It takes me 10 minutes. So it doesn't take up too much time. All right? No ocupa demasiado tiempo en la preparación del café. Preparing a coffee or making a coffee doesn't take up too much time. También puedo decir doesn't take much time, que significa no se tarda mucho. It doesn't take much time. All right? To take up space. All right? Furniture takes up space in a house. My wife likes furniture. I don't. Of course, we need the minimum furniture, but we don't need extra pieces of furniture because the only thing it does is take up space. Of course, sometimes the furniture is attractive. It's a little special table that's really for seeing and not for using, but it takes up space. It takes up a lot of space. And me, I'm from Texas. We have open spaces everywhere. There's a lot of space forever. But here, no. And so I feel cramped. I feel limited because the furniture in my house takes up so much space to take up space, to take up time. All right, our sponsors are going to take up some of my time now. I'll be right back. Okay, we have 1 minute. You know, there are a lot of lights here that take up a lot of space. There are 3 cameras, 1, 2, 3, that take up a lot of space. There's a TV monitor right there, a TV screen. It takes up a lot of space in this room. This desk takes up a lot of space. I don't need this desk that goes here. There, I can touch one edge, I can touch another edge, but I can't touch, you can't see it, but I can't touch the edges at the same time. I can touch one edge, I can touch the other edge, el borde. So really for me, this desk is too big. I don't need such a big desk. It takes up a lot of space in this room, in this studio. And frankly, I don't need that much space, all right? It takes up a lot of space. And then when you walk through the studio, it's an obstacle course, okay? It takes up a lot of space. All right. I'll be back in a few minutes after our next teacher.
Hello there, how are you today? My name's David Waddell, and today there is so much energy in this studio that I can't believe it. And I think the person responsible for that is sitting right here. It's Juan. How are you today, Juan?
I'm fine, David.
You're full of energy, aren't you?
I am.
You really are. But you need a lot of energy for this point because we're going to look at a phrasal verb. Would you believe it? A phrasal verb. To take up time. Now, any idea what to take up time means?
Ocupar tiempo, llevar
Ocupar tiempo. Ocupar tiempo. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions with this phrasal verb, and I want you to answer them. Yeah? Honestly.
Okay.
very honestly. Yeah.
I will.
Yeah. You mustn't lie to me. Okay.
I won't.
The next one. Okay. The first one. Does replying to emails take up too much of your time? Does replying to emails take up too much of your time? First, en casa. A ver. Yes. Okay. Juan.
Yes, replying emails takes up very much of my time.
Again, one more time.
Yes, replying to emails takes up very much of my time.
Or too much of my time.
Too much.
Repeat.
Replying emails takes
Replying
up.
to.
Replying to emails takes up too much of my time.
Perfect. Now again.
Replying emails.
Replying to
emails
Deja vu.
takes up too much of my time.
And again.
Replying to emails takes up too much of my time.
Perfecto. Okay, en casa. Replying to emails takes up too much of my time. Repeat. Very good. Replying to emails takes up too much of my time. Next one. Okay, ask me a question this time. Ask me if replying to emails takes up too much of my time.
Does replying to emails take up too much of your time?
Perfect. Repeat.
Does replying emails
Does
replying to emails take up too much of your time?
Good. One more time.
Does replying to emails take up too much of your time?
Perfect. Okay, so ask me if replying to emails takes up too much of my time. Very good. Yes, replying to emails, can barely hear the two, but it's there. Replying to emails takes up too much of my time. Okay, the next one. Does paperwork take up a lot of your time? Does paperwork take up a lot of your time? Now, first of all, what does paperwork mean? Any idea? Paperwork?
Sí, de papeleo.
Papeleo, exactly. So, does paperwork take up too much of your time or a lot of your time? Sorry, does paperwork take up a lot of your time?
Yes, paperwork takes up a lot of my time.
Perfect. Repeat.
Yes, paperwork takes up a lot of my time.
Good. Okay, now ask me if paperwork takes up a lot of my time.
Does paperwork take up a lot of your time?
Very good. Repeat.
Does paperwork take up a lot of your time?
Yes, it does. Paperwork takes up a lot of my time. Now ask me if paperwork takes up a lot of my time. Very good. Does paperwork take up a lot of your time? Next one. Okay. Ask me if learning Spanish takes up a lot of my time. Ask me if learning Spanish takes up a lot of my time. Very good. Ask me if Spanish takes up a lot of my time.
Does learning Spanish take up a lot of your time?
Very good. Repeat.
Does learning Spanish take up a lot of your time?
Perfect. Very good. Yes, it does. Learning Spanish takes up a lot of my time. Now, question to you. Does learning English take up a lot of your time? I hope so. Does learning English take up a lot of your time? Very good. Now, does learning English take up a lot of your time? I hope so.
Yes, learning English takes up a lot of my time.
Very good, and so it should, So repeat one more time.
Yes, learning English takes up a lot of my time.
Very good, okay. Now, does doing your tax return take up a lot of your time? Does doing your tax return take up a lot of your time? A ver, primero, tax return. How do you say that in Spanish?
El pago de impuestos,
Yeah,
la declaración de la renta.
De la declaración de la renta. Okay, so does doing your tax return take up too much of your time? Let's say too much of your time. A ver? Very good. Now, does doing your tax return take up too much of your time?
Yes, doing the tax return takes up a lot of my time.
Doing my tax return, you'd say.
Doing my tax return takes up a lot of my time.
Repeat. Very good.
Yes, doing my tax return takes up a lot of my time.
Good, very good. So does doing your tax return take up a lot of your time? DKC? It always does, doesn't it? I don't think anyone will say no. Although
well,
on
depends.
the internet now,
if you have a tax advisor, it doesn't take up
any time whatsoever.
Time.
And also on the internet, you can also do it on the internet, I think, can't you?
Yeah, true.
But it probably takes even less time if you do it. Okay, the next one. Does attending meetings take up a lot of your time? Repeat. Well, no, not repeat. Answer the question. Does attending meetings take up a lot of your time? Very good. Okay. Does attending meetings take up a lot of your time?
Yes, attending meetings takes up a lot of my time.
Repeat.
Yes, attending meetings takes up a lot of my time.
Very good. Okay. Does attending meetings take up a lot of your time? Very good. Yes. Attending meetings takes up a lot of my time. Now, ask me if attending meetings takes up a lot of my time.
Does attending meetings take up a lot of your time?
Very good. Repeat.
Does attending meetings take up a lot of your time?
Very good. Yes, attending meetings takes up a lot of my time. Attending meetings takes up too much of my time, you could say as well. Very good. Okay. Does choosing Christmas presents take up too much of your time? Does choosing Christmas presents take up too much of your time? I know we're out of season, but does it? A ver.
Yes, choosing Christmas presents takes up a lot of my time.
Repeat.
Yes, choosing Christmas presents takes up a lot of my time.
Yes, and don't forget the S on the end of takes. Yes, choosing Christmas presents takes up a lot of my time. Choosing Christmas presents takes up a lot of my time. It's still a long way to go, though, isn't there? A long time to go. Don't have to worry about it yet. Okay, does preparing dinner take up too much of your time? Does preparing dinner take up too much of your time? Very good. Juan.
No,
it doesn't.
take any time of my time, honestly. I'll say yes. Preparing dinner takes up a lot of my time.
And say it in negative if you want to. I want you to be very honest.
Okay, no, preparing dinner doesn't take up any time of any time.
Any of my time.
Any of my time.
Repeat.
No, preparing dinner doesn't take up any of my time.
I wonder why. Me pregunto por qué. Maybe because somebody else does it.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, ask me if preparing dinner takes up too much of my time.
Does preparing dinner take up too much of your time?
No. Preparing dinner doesn't take up too much of my time. Do you know why?
Why?
Because I just go ding and it's done. Microwave, yeah? Okay. Does learning phrasal verbs take up too much of your time? En casa primero. Does learning phrasal verbs take up too much of your time? Good, okay. Does learning phrasal verbs take up too much of your time? I think it does, doesn't it?
Yes, learning phrasal verbs takes up too much of my time.
Good, repeat.
Yes, learning phrasal verbs takes up too much of my time.
Very good, okay. Now, does learning irregular verbs take up too much of your time? Does learning irregular verbs take up too much of your time? Very good, okay. Juan, does learning irregular verbs take up too much of your time?
Yes, learning irregular verbs takes up too much of my time.
Good, repeat.
Yes, learning irregular verbs takes up too much of my time.
Good, learning irregular verbs takes up too much of my time. Does learning irregular verbs take up too much of your time? Di que sí. Very good, learning irregular verbs takes up too much of my time. Okay, does learning conditionals take up too much of your time?
Yes, learning conditionals takes up too much of my time.
Good, does learning conditionals take up too much of your time? Yes, learning conditionals takes up too much of my time. Okay, that's all we have time for, unfortunately. Thank you very much, Juan, and see you next time. Bye-bye.
All right, list number 41. We have a lot of work, so let's get off to a good start, and let's do what Maria wants me to do. She's trying to get me to change, so let's change. All right. List 41. The first sentence es una historia cierta de mi pueblo. Dejaron toda su fortuna al cartero. Yes, they left their whole fortune to the postman or to the mailman. Postman or mailman. They left their whole fortune. Whole. Suena a agujero, ¿no? Y se escribe agujero con W delante. Whole. Dejaron toda su fortuna al cartero. They left their whole fortune, chun, fortune, no me digáis fortune, no es chun, chun, Jackie Chan, fortune. They left their whole fortune to the postman. It's true. It was an old couple, no children, very lonely, no friends, and the only person who was nice to them was the postman. He stopped and he chatted with them every day. But nobody knew that those two old people had a fortune because they lived very modestly. And the postman was the only person who took the time to talk to them and to be a friend. And when they died, they left $7 million to the postman. Moral of the story, always be nice to people because you never know what could happen. All right? If you're not nice to people, it's very clear what will happen. Nobody will give you anything. But if you're nice, you never know. Nunca se sabe. Parecían una pareja tan normal. They seemed like such a normal couple. They seemed like such a normal couple. They seemed like such a normal couple. Such. They were so normal that people didn't pay attention to them. They were so normal that people didn't pay attention to them. They were such a normal couple that people paid no attention to them. And they seemed like such a normal couple. They left their whole fortune to the postman. They seemed like such a normal couple. Casi nadie les hacía caso. Casi nadie, hardly anybody. Hardly anybody or hardly anyone paid any attention to them. Aquí any dos veces. Hardly anyone paid any attention to them. La atención en inglés se paga, no se presta. They paid hardly anyone paid any attention to them except the postman. And they gave him, well, they passed on to him $7 million. Not bad. Hay una escasez de materias primas. There's a shortage. Short is corto. Cortaje, literalmente. Shortage, aje al final. There's a shortage, mortgage. All right, there's a shortage. Knowledge, shortage. There's a shortage of raw materials. Materias crudas, raw, R-A-W, como la ley pero con R. Law, no, raw. Raw es crudo, no cocinado, pero también es materias primas, raw materials, raw materials. There's a shortage of raw materials. Tenemos que recurrir a las importaciones. We have to resort to imports. We have to resort, resorte, escrito sin la al final. Resort, ese zumbido en medio, resort. We have to resort to imports. No solemos decir importation. De hecho, no se dice importation. Se dice imports. Import-export. Yes, we have to resort to imports. Es el único modo de que podamos sobrevivir. It's the only way we can survive. Esto es Japón hace 100 años. It's the only way we can survive. In Japan, they couldn't survive without imports. To maintain the standard of living they wanted, or to improve the standard of living, they needed to resort to imports because Japan didn't have enough natural resources and raw materials. So they needed to import raw materials, and they applied an imperialistic approach, taking over countries and exploiting those countries' raw materials. All right, tenemos que recurrir. We have to resort to imports. Es el único modo de que podamos sobrevivir. It's the only way we can survive. Survive. Yes, sir. Sí, señor. Yes, sir. Sir. Survive. Survive. Y las V's como si fueran F's. Survive. Survive. Okay. Estoy interesado en ofrecer lo mejor. I'm interested in offering. In es una preposición. Va a gerundio después. I'm interested in offering the best. Yes, I'm interested in offering you. Vamos a ver. Estoy interesado en ofrecerte a ti lo mejor. I'm interested in offering you the best. The very best. Lo mejor de lo mejor. El muy mejor, decimos en inglés. The very best. I'm interested in offering you the best English course on the planet Earth. And this is the best television English course. Not necessarily the best English course, but it's definitely, significa sin lugar a dudas. No significa definitivamente. It's definitely the best English course on this planet. And I'm interested in giving you or in offering you the best. The very best. Okay, quiero hacerte algunas preguntas más. I want to ask you a few more questions if you don't mind. Excuse me, can I ask you a few more questions? Sure, go ahead. Shoot, dispara. All right, I would like to ask you a few more questions, please. I would like or I want, ambos valen. I want to ask you a few more questions, please. Cuando se trata de mujeres, él se considera un experto. Huh. Yeah. When it comes to women, he considers himself an expert. When it comes, cuando ello viene a mujeres, literalmente. When it comes to women, es la forma de cuando se trata de. When it comes to English, teaching English, I'm the expert. When it comes to floor management, Maria is the expert. When it comes to sound management, Juanpa is the expert. When it comes to lighting, Seve is the expert. When it comes to mixing, Jorge is the expert. When it comes to general production, Julio is the expert. And when it comes to women, Paco considers himself an expert. I don't know if he's an expert or not. All right. Era un asunto de vida o muerte. It was a question or a matter of life or death. It was a matter of life or death. Learning English is a matter of life or death. Teaching English, no, but for you, learning English, yes. Okay, I'll be back in a few minutes to close the program.
Hello, my name's David Waddell, and it's time to look at another translation list, this time number 41. 41. And with me here to do that is Beatriz. How are you today?
Fine, thank you, David.
Are you full of energy?
Yes, full of energy.
I don't
in the
believe
morning.
you. I don't believe you. It doesn't matter. Okay, so first of all, though, we're going to look at some vocabulary because 5 words every day have to be learned. So the first word to be learnt is snowstorm. 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 Now, what's snowstorm in Spanish?
Tormenta de nieve.
Tormenta de nieve. Very good. And in English?
Snowstorm.
Snowstorm. Very good. Sin e. So snowstorm. Perfect. Now, the second word is going to prove a little bit difficult, I think, because the Y, I don't know why, the Y, but it's always pronounced wrongly, okay? So, it's gritar, and it is to yell, to yell, gritar. Now, repeat the English for me.
To yell.
Yell. E-L. Yell. Go on.
Yell.
Así, yell, not gel. Gel is completely different, yeah? Gel would be with a G or a J, yeah? So to yell, which means gritar, yell. So fíjate en esta palabra, yeah? It's very important. Yell, like yellow, amarillo, yellow. Okay, the third word is tongue. No tiene nada que ver cómo es escrito esto, okay? Tongue. And what does that mean?
Lengua.
Lengua. And say it in English?
Tongue.
Tongue. Not tongue, but tongue. Tongue. Lengua. Okay. The fourth word, or really expression, I suppose, is sooner or later. Sooner or later. Now, how do you say that in Spanish?
Tarde o temprano.
Yeah, no temprano o tarde, no?
No.
Tarde o temprano. But in inglés is temprano y tarde. Sooner or later. Repeat.
Sooner or later.
Sooner or later. Very good. And the last one is another expression, so far, so good. So far, so good. Okay, what does that mean?
Hasta el momento, todo bien.
Sí, hasta ahora todo bien. Hasta el momento, todo bien. Okay, so far, so good. Repeat.
So far, so good.
Very good. So let's go back over the 5 words again you have to learn. Snowstorm, to yell. Be very careful with that word, to yell. Tongue. Okay. The fourth word, sooner or later, and so far, so good. So at least 2 tricky words there. So please do practice those. Okay, translation list 41. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay, let's go for it then. The first sentence is, dejaron toda su fortuna al cartero. Dejaron toda su fortuna al cartero. How would you say that? Well, first of all, in casa, okay? Very good, okay. Venga.
They let all their...
in this case, it is to leave. They left.
They left. They left all their fortune.
Or their whole fortune, yeah?
They left their whole fortune to the postman.
Very good, the postman. Postman. Dilo?
Postman.
Postman, not postman. Postman, very good. So in casa, they left their whole fortune to the postman. Postman. Curioso, no? Not postman. Postman. They left their whole fortune to the postman. Let's do number 2 now, shall we? Parecían una pareja tan normal. A ver. Very good. Okay, parecían una pareja tan normal. How do you say that?
They seemed such a normal couple.
Very good. Or they seemed like such a normal couple. They seemed such a normal couple is fine. Or they seemed like such a normal couple. Very good. Repeat one more time.
They seemed like such a normal couple.
And again?
They seemed like...
They is dia. Okay.
They seemed like such a normal couple.
Very good. Such a normal couple. They seemed like such a normal couple. Day is día. So be very, very careful. It's a different word completely. So, number 3. Casi nadie les hacía caso. Casi nadie les hacía caso. How do you say that? A ver. Very good. Okay, Beatriz?
Nearly.
Ooh, no.
Nobody.
No.
No. Casi.
Casi nadie, or apenas nadie.
Hardly.
Okay.
Hardly. No, but hardly.
Hardly is a negative word, so hardly anybody.
Hardly anybody.
Or hardly anyone. Yeah, okay, carry on.
Hardly anyone paid them attention.
Okay, paid attention to them.
Yeah.
Paid any attention to them, you can say as well. Any is, you can say it or you don't have to say it. Hardly anyone paid any attention to them. Or hardly anyone paid attention to them.
Okay.
Yeah, so repeat one of them.
Hardly anyone paid attention to them.
Very good. To them, though, not to them. To them?
To them.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, number 4. Hay una escasez de materias primas. Okay, I'm not going to repeat that one, but you understand, yeah? Okay, any idea? Very good. Okay, Beatriz.
They are shortage of raw material.
Very good. It's a pronunciation. You know the word. Okay, there's what? Escasez?
There is a shortage
Shortage of
raw material.
raw materials. Very good. Repeat.
There is a shortage.
Shortage.
There is a shortage of raw material.
Very good. Raw materials. Materias primas.
Yeah.
Okay? So in casa, there's a shortage, con a, shortage of raw materials. Very good. Okay, number 5. Tenemos que recurrir a las importaciones. Recurrir. Me cuesta esta doble R. Okay. Tenemos que recurrir a las importaciones. Venga. Okay, very good. And Beatriz?
We must recur.
No,
Resort.
Okay.
We must resort to the imports
Okay.
or exports. I don't remember.
One thing, I actually said tenemos que, not debemos. Tenemos
We
que.
have to.
Yes? To resort
We have to resort
to,
the
no, without article.
to imports.
Yeah, we have to resort to imports.
Okay.
We have to resort to imports. Repeat.
We have to resort to imports.
Very good, excellent. Okay, in casa, we have to resort to imports. Very good, we have to resort to imports. Number 6. Es el único modo de que podamos sobrevivir. Okay, es el único modo de que podamos sobrevivir.
It's the only way we can get along. Or it's the only way we can survive.
Survive, very good, repeat.
It's the only way we can survive.
It's the only way we can survive. One more time.
It's the only way we can survive.
Very good, okay, in casa. It's the only way we can survive. It's the only way we can survive. And we've run out of time already. Can you believe it? Thank you very much, Beatriz. And until next time, goodbye.
Okay, we've finished another class. Wow, this never stops. I'm getting the impression that we're capable of finishing this program. Do you really think we'll reach the end? Do you really think we'll reach the promised land? Yeah, there are a lot more lists to do. There's so much information. There's so much material we need to cover, but I think we're covering it. Slowly but surely, step by step, little by little, slowly but surely, step by step. Little by little, we're covering everything you need. Everything you need. There are many other words, expressions in the English language that maybe we won't cover, but all of it is irrelevant compared with what we're giving you now. We're giving you the relevant area of the language to be very successful in your communications. Okay, see you tomorrow.